There is a specific psychological thrill to watching a public takedown. When the internet decides someone is guilty, the collective rush of moral outrage is highly contagious. This primal urge to point a finger and demand punishment existed long before digital platforms. It's a human instinct going back thousands of years. To understand the anatomy of a mob, we are going to look at two ancient, high-stakes trials recorded in biblical texts. In both stories, a furious crowd surrounds a woman, demanding her immediate execution. The accusations look identical on the surface, but there is a massive difference in the facts of each case. In the first trial, the woman standing before the crowd is entirely innocent. In the second, the woman is undeniably guilty. These contrasting stories force a difficult question. In a world of constant, deafening public judgment, how do we know what to do? When are we supposed to step in as relentless investigators? And when should we act as forgiving protectors? A just society depends on the wisdom to tell the difference between weaponized hypocrisy and genuine righteous truth-seeking. Take a look at these ruins of ancient Babylon. This is the setting for our first trial, centered around the sprawling, wealthy estate of a man named Joachim and his wife, Susanna. Susanna's beauty caught the attention of two elders, highly respected judges in the community. They cornered her in her garden and made lustful advances. When she refused them, the two leaders decided to weaponize their authority. They loudly accused her of committing adultery with a young man who had supposedly run away. Susanna was immediately put in extreme legal peril. Under the Kautusan ni Moises, the law of Moses, the matching testimony of Valawang Hukom, or two judges, was considered absolute proof. Their word alone guaranteed a death sentence. The crowd believed the judges and prepared to execute Susanna. But a young man named Daniel loudly intervened. He disrupted the mob's momentum with a specific legal strategy. He demanded that the trial be paused, the two witnesses separated, and each questioned individually. Daniel asked each elder exactly the same question: under which specific tree in the garden did they witness the crime? The first elder confidently claimed it was under a split mastic tree, or punong hati, but the second elder, entirely unaware of the first answer, swore it happened under a cut evergreen, or punong putol. The contradiction exposed their lies to the crowd. The two elders were executed for their perjury, and Susanna's life was spared because one person chose to create friction. Her story proves that even a total consensus among respected leaders can be built on a lie. When you are the target of a mob, the psychological isolation is overwhelming. Psalm 23 refers to this terrifying state as the Dang Madilim, the dark valley. In both of the trials we are examining, the accused women hit an inescapable dead end. The sheer volume of voices screaming against them creates a wall of noise that makes any attempt at self-defense impossible. Surviving the court of public opinion is rarely something a person can do alone. It requires an outside intervener who refuses to be swept up by the crowd's momentum and is willing to stand in the gap. This image shows a wide historical view of Jerusalem, sweeping toward the Temple Mount. We are moving the timeline forward to this new setting, where a very different crowd has gathered. Here, a group of religious scholars, known as the Pharisees, drag a second woman into the public square. But unlike Susanna, this woman is genuinely, undeniably guilty of the crime of adultery. The Pharisees present her to Jesus of Nazareth to create an unwinnable trap. If Jesus simply forgives her, he violates the strict law of Moses. But if he agrees with the mob and condemns her to be stoned, he destroys his own teachings of mercy and compassion. Instead of trying to shout over the mob, Jesus redirects the entire room's focus. He bends down in silence and begins tracing his finger in the dry dirt. This unexpected action forces a visual pause, breaking the frantic energy of the crowd. Once the crowd goes quiet, he stands up and delivers a verdict that reframes the entire trial. Sinumanon sa inyo no walang kasalanan ang siyang maunang bubato sa kanya. Let him who was without sin cast the first stone. The accusers realize they are caught. From the oldest down to the youngest, they drop their weapons and walk away. Left alone with the woman, Jesus refuses to condemn her. He offers her a future rather than a death sentence, telling her to go and sin no more. When guilt is an absolute, undeniable fact, the ultimate test of righteous judgment is turning the lens inward. You have to examine your own flaws before you execute someone else for theirs. These ancient trials are highly relevant to how we operate today. When you witness a modern pile-on, whether in your workplace, within your social circle, or in the comment section online, you have a choice in how you react. When a crowd is rushing towards a judgment, the first step is to hit the brakes. Daniel's strategy was to demand verifiable evidence before the momentum became unstoppable. You cannot let impressive titles, positions of authority, or the sheer volume of angry voices dictate what is true. If a person's guilt is actually confirmed, there is a different temptation, the urge to permanently write them off to secure a sense of moral superiority. True intervention in the face of guilt means offering a path toward rehabilitation. It is about saying, "Humayo ka at huwag nang magkasala," go and sin no more, rather than participating in their destruction. When we look at these stories, we see that real justice is a delicate balance of dalawang magkaibang katangian, or two contrasting virtues. It takes fierce courage to protect the innocent from the mob, and profound humility to offer the guilty a second chance.